we will have a longer practice of meditation. Longer practice of meditation to check our titiksha, our endurance and resilience. But at the same time, it is good to know to have a different perspective of Shanti mantra that we have been chanting. Sahana, I can even take workshop only on the Shanti mantra. That's how you can explain differently why it is so. Ultimately, Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge. That I have spoken hundred of times. So, what happens by the regular practice, we rise in knowledge. And when we rise in knowledge, ultimately we land up with the knowledge of the real self. So, that is how this Shanti mantra works. So, I say namaste, for example, I say namaste. I gave you two different meaning of the namaste. One is I am not, only real self is. Another meaning is that I am you and you are me. How two waves are the same? Because they are water. From the standpoint of a wave, from the standpoint of a body mind complex, I am different and separate from you. From the standpoint of the real self, we are the same. So once not only I recognize this, I live into that awareness, that is the meaning of living in a moment. Now see, Om Sahana Vavatu. We say, let it both be protected. Both be protected. Protection from the external challenges or difficulties, so that at least when we start our journey together, then at least we should keep aside all our challenges and let us work together. So gradually there is a progressive understanding of the knowledge. But what is hidden behind it? Safeguarding one's spiritual journey and inner growth. That is the real meaning of this protection. I did the practice, I had a good experience of the calmness and peace, and during the day, the calmness and the peace is disturbed. Oh, I have to safeguard. That is the meaning of Om Sahana Bhavatu. One is the protection that you already understood. Look at the second line of this Sahana Bhunaktu. Sadhana Bhunaktu. So it's seeking what? Let us work together. What is the false hidden behind it? Sadhana Bhunaktu. Seeking pleasant experiences or the spiritual highs. I had a wonderful experience. Yesterday I was in stress. Last week I was suffering from lot of pain. All these are experiences, comes and goes, but who is the knower of that experiences? Nothing happened to that. Sahana Bhunaktu. We have to realize that. Finding the joy in the process of self-discovery is the meaning of second line. It is the process of evolution. Again, remember, don't forget, Eastern wisdom is the instrument of yoga, is the instrument of the knowledge. Tantra is an instrument of knowledge. Any discipline you take, it is an instrument of knowledge. Means knowledge is the means. What knowledge? Physics knowledge? No. Chemistry knowledge? No. Because they are objective. So only the Eastern wisdom educates us the subjective knowledge. How to reach to that. I'm just explaining only the meaning of this Shanti mantra. in a different prestige. Svinaavadhitamastu. Tejas. We both should have a tremendous energy to treat the path. So, what is the wrong notion here? That we start accumulating and trying to brag about the mystical experiences. Mystical experiences. In 60s in US you take LSD, so you have mystical experiences. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean, you see, you have to be very clear, very straightforward. So many people have approached me. There's no. We take what are the other drugs? I don't remember. No, I take it regularly, and then I have a mystical experiences. I don't need your meditation. So dear Tejasvina Vidhitamastu, developing clear insight, wisdom, self-awareness that transforms my whole life is the journey of Eastern wisdom, is the journey of self-discovery. So this is the meaning of uh, this line of the Mama Vidvisha Vahe. So we simply casually talk, we should not have jealousy and hatred. Huh? We have even the positive jealousy. How this guy can speak so fluently, naturally. Why I am not able to speak? So even we have a positive jealousy. So what is the meaning here? Avoiding all conflicts, always all conflicts, subtle conflict, physical conflict, vocal conflict. Why? To keep the mind pure. Why to keep the mind pure? To live into that state of consciousness. It means I safeguard my inner peace and the unity of purpose, even when facing contradictions or challenges. I'll be explaining the other why I have to explain. You have already explained almost six different ways, so that our mind can reach to a state of knowledge that can be applied in my daily life as a wisdom I need not to practice. Where is your house? Knowledge, right now. Oh, here is your house. Oh, it will take a couple of hours and I will drive and reach to you. You see, objective knowledge. Objective knowledge. I and Jerry were just talking. Did you receive the email? So we know the objective knowledge, we know the very process. We know the process. Oh, so where is the problem? Let us resolve this problem. But in subjective field, we are not fully aware. Eastern wisdom, that is why, helps us to gain that subjective knowledge. Understand that clearly. I'm just again laying couple of more, giving you the tips before we go to each step of the Sadhana Panchkam, so that you can. Have you heard that many people who won lotteries, they become millionaires, and after a few years they become poor again? I'm comparing, giving a contrast. Oh, today I have a beautiful experience. And what will happen tomorrow? I have a lot of stress. That is not spirituality. That is not awakening. We have to be very clear. I that level of awareness is continuously maintained. Today my body is totally relaxed, and yes, tomorrow I have a lot of pain in the body, but my state of the consciousness is maintained. That is the spirituality. Are you getting it? It has nothing to do with the mystical experiences. Why? Real self is witnessed. Water is water. I have to look at from the standpoint of the water, all the waves. What are the waves? Waves are simply the water. Clay pot is clay. All our homes are nothing but the space. So we have to get rid of these challenges. Why I'm not able to maintain that status quo? Why? Why? Real self is eternal. It is all pervading. It does not change. So why it has changed today? So that change is a part of the matter, the material phenomena. What is the material phenomena? It means whatever I'm experiencing as the real self is what the body, mind, intellect, ego, and the thought process. I have yet to reach to that real self. That results into awakening. I told you this guy, uh, to convince me, he asked one of his colleague who lives in Netherlands to give me some breathing practice. Breathing for corporate, there is some website. So he has been in the stock market. He earned a lot of dollars, and now he entered into this. So he was talking to me that he has such a beautiful experiences. I said, hold on. Is that experience a continuity in your life? No, that happened to me 10 years ago. So, yes, it means you are awakened 10 years ago. Now you are not awakened. You have to put, you have to put a right reasoning. Oh, that's a good question you asked me. He said, that's a good question you asked me. And I became softer. I said Buddha was awakened once and he continued his life into that state of awakening. Oh, yes. Can you say that at the time of sitting under a Bodhi tree he was awakened and after that he returned to the old stuff? No. Obviously, when you work in a stock, obviously you are super intelligent. So he said, that's a good question that I have to think over it. So from that French guy, no, Netherlands, he gave me that practice. It was all about the breathing practice, and it's a good practice. So, but it has nothing to do with the spirituality. Nothing to do with the spirituality. We have to understand that all these meditations practices are done to remove all the impurities of the mind. All the impurities. What are those impurities? Now I stick to one experiences at a higher level. At a lower level, I get attachment and detachment. That is why we master says I have to rise in awareness that attachment and detachment not affected. Pain and pleasure not affected. Not affected. So from where it comes? It comes from the thought process. Subtle level. I don't have a choice of hunger. I'm hungry, so I need a food, but I have a choice of food. So for the choice of food, I think of it, but I don't need to think of the hunger. I need not to think of the thirst. Do you see that? Gradually, we will enter into that higher level of consciousness. So, what is that higher level of consciousness? I recognize I've lived with the body, so there is no choice of hunger. So let me eat the food but with awareness. I should not be attached to or detached to any kind of food. But yes, due to physical condition, I should have a choice. Many people, oh, so you take tea, yes, or coffee also? Oh, you are practicing yoga. Wrong logic. So we have to think of, well, gradually we will come of the hunger or the food. I gave you one example. Find out 10 more examples like that, where there is no thought process involved. Hunger, cold is there. Oh, I am a great yogi, so I live in a freezing temperature. So you are at a primary level of a seeker. You are cold, cover yourself so that you can practice meditation easily. You can stay for a longer period. So that is the message given in this Shanti mantra. We have to, we will look into it. We have to look into it step by step. So today we will go for, uh, just to remind you from the Gita, we are picking up the highest text and we will see. I gave you three verses. In the first line of the verse, it says, for those seekers who are free from the binding desire and agitation. Both are synonyms. Binding desire, that my desire, you fulfill my desire, you should appreciate me. If you don't appreciate me, I'd be hesitant. So binding desire and hesitation go together, which I explained in the 9 factors the world is suffering. So it means my mind has to be free. Why? I can absorb myself into meditation easily. Yatinam yat chetasam, for the self-disciplined seeker, moderation. So there you can bring the Buddhas. Moderation in food, moderation in clothes while sitting in meditation, moderation in speech. So I have to recognize myself. I have to raise my level of awareness. And that comes by satsang, constant listening and learning. So then what happens? This mind can reflect with my intellect. There is an intellectual clarity. What is that clarity? Water is everywhere, even with millions of waves. So my shift of awareness from the waves to the water, from the all these thoughts to the thoughtlessness state. Last point, very important. It just came to my mind before we start with the practice of meditation. So, why the master is saying attachment, detachment, likes and dislikes? It means the mind is constantly agitated with these two movements. They are like the waves. They are like. So, what happens in our daily life? I am attached today, tomorrow I am detached, again I am attached, tomorrow again I am detached. So, my mind is not able to see what is permanent. My mind is constantly moving into the temporary. Do you see attachment, detachment, likes and dislikes? You see, it's constantly. So I'm constantly moving into what is temporary, what is constantly changing. So how can I know what is permanent entity? That is the only purpose. It is not the purpose that you go into the Himalayas and stand there on 1 feet with a freezing temperature and then you show to the people, yes, I am a great you. Be very clear. So in daily life, I look at my likes and dislikes. I look at my pain and the pleasure. So I have a pain. So can I move into the permanent state? Oh, so I should have an endurance, a tolerance. pleasure, I should not forget that this pleasure will convert into, when the pleasure dissolves, pain will come. Pain dissolves. So I'm just moving constantly from one changes to the other changes. So how can I recognize what is permanent? I believe you're getting it. That is that is why our masters, all masters says the same thing. Recognize the binding desire, recognize the hesitation, get rid of it, have the purity of the mind so that you can recognize and realize that higher state of the consciousness which is unchanging, eternal and all pervading. So let us close your eyes. Eyes are closed. First stage you already know. Before Mangalacharan, we will do some passive steps. So just think of this. It is a contradiction. Knowledge is not practiced, knowledge is understood. But still, I say it is a passive steps. So whenever I say passive steps, it's a dominant with the knowledge, understanding. And that is how I start with the place of meditation. Your home. Now bring it closer. Become aware of the space around you. Maybe 1 foot of the space all around your body. Now, wherever I'm sitting, I cannot see the space where I'm sitting, my butts and hips. Come on, that butts and hip and the ground and the bed sheet or cushion is also in the space. So you see the space as you see the wave is nothing but the water. I will be taking you to that subtle level of awareness. And that is why I'm laying a foundation of awareness. And then the position of the body. Position of the body. Position of the body. Position of the body. Are you getting it? I'm stressing this. So you recognize the very subtle fluctuations, sensations in the body, and you bypass that. Body is constantly changing. We have to agree, we have to accept that. Why? It is a part of the matter. It is the part of the non-self. And the posture. So moderation means it is not causing any challenges to me, my mind, so my mind is ready to go within. How simple it is, with understanding, with knowledge. Otherwise, what normally do I have seen in every meditation session? We start stretching our neck and shoulder and the spine. So then my consciousness will remain focused in the body only. I have to rise above, being comfortable. Awareness of the entire body from the top of the head to the toes, and experience a sensation in the body, experience of comfort in the mind, stillness or steadiness in the body. It is not the steadiness of the body. Why? We'll go deeper. Deeper steadiness in the body. What is the deeper aspect? The space is still. Why it is still? There is no other space where you can put the space. Space is not two. Same way that stillness belongs to the real self. Being carefree. And I gave you another reference. that you are aware of the space inside the forehead, and from that space, all these are passive stages. Why I start with the passive stages before the purifying the mind, I will answer that. Because we have been doing these practices for a couple of years, and we can easily settle into that. And it will also help us to check our endurance and clarity. So I gave you an example of the space and the sky, and the birds are flying, and the birds do not create any impression on the space or the sky. The same way, these thought, feeling, and emotions do not create any impression on the space that we are aware of inside the forehead. What it means? That is what I just explained to you. No attachment, no detachment. So once the level of awareness goes there, which is beyond the opposite, which are temporary, first time we experience so called the flashes of the permanent peace and the joy, because it does not depend on anything. And then we again go for a rise in awareness. Just look at the flow of the breath. So that is a reference point for the mind. Should not start chasing something else. So we keep the awareness of the flow of the breath as a reference point, and we move horizontally. So just become aware of the first neighbor, that is the world outside of people, of objects, of things, of events. You know, mind is filled with those things, and they are constantly changing. How can I find out if I do not transcend this change? So, where I help your mind to settle, this is a neighbor, neighbor is not me. But in our daily life, we say, my house, my car, it is a part of the world. My honey, it is also a part of the world. My clothes. Do you see? We will take there. Neighbor number two is the physical body. It is composed of five elements: conception, in parents' body, birth, growth, old age, maturity, and death is natural to movement of this physical body. I have to recognize this is a natural movement of the body. When I recognize it's a natural movement of the body, then I also recognize I am not the body. Second neighbor, third neighbor, life, energy. It is dictated by hunger and thirst. Eastern wisdom helps us to recognize it is different than the physical body. It is because of this prana I experience, and that prana is all pervading. Life drives hunger and thirst. And two words: hunger and thirst regulated by the nature. Say, for example, you don't feel hungry, then so I recognize it's a part of the nature and I'm not that. It is still the neighbor. The fourth neighbor is the crazy mind. It gives us an experience in a nutshell. Opposite experiences, temporary nature, pain, pleasure, profit, loss, victory, defeat, insert, praise, all comes here. So we recognize it as impurity, constantly changing, that hides what is permanent. Hence, I am not the mind. then I-ness in the intellect. So in I-ness intellect, one pair, strong likes and dislikes. Why strong likes and dislikes? It is supported by the I. I like this, I don't like this. I like this practice, I don't like it. But in practice, there is no liking and disliking. And the last one, because of these five neighbors, all these impressions are accumulated in the causal body, which is known as body of ignorance. What is after that? Real self. Why I'm not able to perceive it because of the impurity. But then we find a niche, Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan. So we just want to see that water in spite of millions of the waves. In spite of millions of the waves means the six neighbors. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham, may there be happiness for all. May there be happiness for all. That happiness is the water. Are you seeing that happiness? You have to. There we rise in awareness. Happiness is an essence of all the beings on this universe. Everyone is looking for it. In spite of their different frames, different level states of the mind, different lifespan, you see? You see that? Oh. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Everyone is looking. So there is some entity which seems to be permanent, unchanging, eternal. That means beyond the time. That is that ruling the entire universe? Or is that the real self? To give an example of geometrical theorem. First, we start with the belief and we have to prove it. That is another part of the meditation. Sarvesham, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Is water not complete? Is space not complete? Yes, it is complete. Same way we are also complete. We identify with one of these neighbors or more than one neighbors and we feel the sense of incompleteness. Why? Well, because of the duality. Pain is there. Oh, I have to get rid of the pain. Pleasure. Oh, the pleasure is not permanent, so I'm fearful. You see that? That is the message of completeness. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Oh, so because I recognize the peace, happiness, and the completeness is also in me beyond these six neighbors, that gives a very strong ground for the mind to continue searching deeper inside. What blocks impurity? So that is where the second stage starts. So in the second stage, we add pranayama, we add pratyahara, we add also the titiksha, that means the endurance, but we have changed the pattern of the breathing. So first you are aware of the sensation, comfort and steadiness in the body. Very good. Then you look inside the forehead in the space. Good. There you drop Om Shanti naturally after an interval or a small pause. And then you have to breathe longer and deeper with a hissing sound into the chest. You start inhaling. Inhale, expand your ribs, exhale. It is not quick in the fast breathing, it is it is long in the hissing, means it takes time to inhale. Into the rib cage, inhale long deep and long deep, breathing in, breathing out. We will see how the breathing practices can have a tremendous impact on the mind for a temporary period, and into that temporary phase we can go deeper. That is the sole purpose of all the three together: pratyahara, withdrawal of the mind by the mantra, steadiness in the body, and continue breathing, please. Continue breathing. Continue breathing into the rib cage or the chest. Your rib cage expands and contracts. You will see, you will notice today, if we do the 3 rounds, even for 2 minutes each, what happens. So we are not naming any breathing practice. It has nothing to do with the fire of the breath. Now stop it. Flow of the breath. Your awareness is on the flow of the breath, and gain your experience. What happens? Sensations, maybe in the form of tingling, numbness, you may have vision and colors. It is okay. It is okay. The experiences, all experiences. Now go for the second round. Start Om Shanti. Continue breathing into the rib cage longer and deeper. Check that you have a total expansion of the ribs and total experience, total contraction of the ribs. You may find the numbness, you may find little dizzy. It is okay. Only 2 minutes we are doing in the second round also. Total expansion of the rib cage. I'm not going into the science, but just I will throw 2 words so that you can Google and find out: peripheral and chemoreceptors. Regulate carbon dioxide and oxygen level. So when this balance is disturbed, we are disturbing the balance. Oh, why? We're disturbing the balance. That leads into tingling, etc., etc., etc. Variety of sensation. Oh, that is what, yes. It's a well established in scientific community. We have more than thousands of research studies. That I'm not going there. Now stop this. Check that the how nature, there is some force that helps the breath to return to its normal breathing pattern. So the flow of the breath and variety of experiences. I gave one scientific, objective reason. But what it has to do with my meditation, yes, I'll tell you. No worries. Oh, so I need not to worry about even if there is a tolerable dizziness, tingling, freezing. No, not at all. We are raising level of endurance. And now, third round, start breathing into the chest again, rib cage. You expand your ribs and you contract your ribs, my dear friends. Let us see what happens with the longer practice of meditation today. So, in one session, we'll have a longer duration for knowledge, and alternatively, we'll have a longer practice of meditation. I'm just changing the format. You're still doing, yes, remember those words. The mind will say, no, I cannot do, I should not do. Endurance. Remember the endurance. Endurance works through the intellect. How? You simply think, I have to endure it. Why? To find the real self. Gradually, what will happen? That endurance will give an experience to the mind. What is that experience? Joy of doing it. From 2 minutes, you will be doing 5 minutes or 6 minutes or 10 minutes. Oh, yes. But if the mind raises the question mark in the very beginning, even for 2 minutes, we are not a seeker of a higher order. And leave it. Just check. When you say leave it, it is the false eye, subtle eye leaves, drops its effort, and the nature comes in. It takes your awareness to the normal breathing pattern plus experience. You can move the mind on the entire body. You can even continue with Om Shanti. That will also help you. Oh, that is what is happening. Yes, now we will do the belly breathing. Start Om Shanti and start with the belly breathing. When you inhale, belly expands completely like a balloon. When you exhale, the belly squeezes inside. It's a little longer, rhythmic breath with a longer breathing pattern and not the fast one. And you see, there is a minimum movement into the rib cage. There will definitely be some little movement into the rib cage because the rib cage and belly are connected together. But dominant part is that you inhale, the belly expands with some hissing sound. Means what? You continue to live into that awareness. Continue, my friends, continue. Long, deep in the hissing breath. Pay attention that you expand your belly like a balloon and you contract, you squeeze, if I use the right word. It is squeezing of the belly, means that it takes time when you empty your lungs from the belly. Empty your lungs. I'll be explaining much better every time, subtle aspects of it. So please continue. Only 2 minutes we are doing it 3 times. And then we will combine, this will become 6 minutes in one go. We'll have to find out joy of doing. can we reach there? Or you can try at your home. Yes, my friends, stop this. Watch the nature, how the nature takes me to the natural breathing pattern with me, and then we are aware of the flow of the breath. Plus experiences, plus Om Shanti also continues. Only one thing we are changing, we are in the state of steadiness. Om Shanti continues. And now the second round of the belly, breathing long in the hissing breath. So when you are squeezing the belly, we will also understand. We'll also understand something unique. Continue, please. Belly breathing, Om Shanti, stillness in the body. Belly breathing, expansion, squeezing of the belly with a longer breath. Om Shanti continues. Steadiness in the body continues. Here's the second round of the belly. And now you have to look at the transition. Leave this. And you see, the force of the nature helps the breath to return to the natural flow of the breath, leaving the tyranny of the I, and plus experiences, the change in experiences, acknowledge and accept it. No worries at all. We have we have reached to this state because of the long weeks and months of the practice, so need not to worry about it. But now we are stepping into a higher journey. Om Shanti continues. Stillness in the body continues. And now the last round. Start with the last round of the belly, breathing long, deep, hissing breath. Belly becomes the balloon during inhalation and it squeezes when you exhale. It is not a fast breathing, so it has nothing to do with the breath of fire or fire breath, whatever you say. It has more to do with regulating and finding the synergy between the mantra and the breathing. Mantra and the breathing. We'll talk about it. Continue. long in the hissing breath. And now stop this, watch how the nature takes us to the flow of the breath, and in that flow of the breath experience where I'm taking you to, you have to live into that awareness. I'm just giving in a symbolic uh, thought. You look at the eye, the very eye is looking into the eye, the very nose feeling the smell into the nose, the very sensation of touch you're feeling into the skin. Means there is no other objects to see but the eye. Now the object is eye, all the five sense organs. What is this? Pratyahara. Oh, so there are two natural experiences in this horizontal movement and the skin of the body. You experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Just for the sake of understanding, on the skin means outside the body, you experience the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. And then look inside the body. It is looking inside the body has to do with the calmness and quietness. Calmness and the quietness. And now is the time that will help us to move transition into the third stage. So start dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of the fingers because all the sense organs continues to live within. There is already a withdrawal. So start dropping. Continue to drop Om Shanti. Everyone has a different pattern of dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments. So you need not to allow the ego to take over. It may be Om Shanti only on one segment, mind just absorbs itself, or Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. You're moving on the different segments. So you see that you drop that hegemony of that false side. And or you can say Om Shanti. And you feel the tremendous sensation over these segments. And now the last part. Move the mind on the cave of your heart. Visualize the triangle of any color, moving the mind on each side of a triangle, rubbing Om Shanti, and discover a sync, a synergy. Movement of the mind, the mantra, and the side. Once you find the synergy, mentally, loudly, mentally, you are loud in your mind, pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. And Shanti, when you find mind seemingly stops. Did you see that? What I talked? Unless we go beyond these constant changing, chattering of the mind through variety of experiences, self-absorption, and stay there. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both of arms, place in your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. And bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. I'm fine. During the after the rounds of breathing, there were a lot of sensations in the body, and after that, there was a lot more clarity than usual, a lot more focus, and the sensations in the fingers were more intense than usual. And at the last stage, as usual, vast space, uh, clarity in the mind, and not really any desire to stop, but rather I was wanting to continue.
Beautiful. That's a success in meditation. You will be finding more and more peculiar sensations in the fingers also. And obviously, we have done almost 12 minutes of the breathing with an interval, and it also helps us to withdraw the mind deeper within. That's a beautiful experience. So how are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, similar to Dennis's, it was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed the lesson. The experience was very unique insofar as the body. When we went to the meditation, the body got like an inferno inside and was just really extremely hot. I was very aware of all the neighbors, but not attached to anything. And then pretty quickly, I just went into this huge open space that I remained in for the balance of the meditation. So very, very, very deep.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, entering into the vast space, definitely. And obviously, you rightly said that we maintain an awareness of all the neighbors. They are subjected to change. Real self is not subjected to change. So, can the mind settle into that vast space for a longer period? So, there we can get some flashes of the subjective reality. So, that is where we are trying to approach. Beautiful experience. So, how are you, Jerry?
So I'm good, thank you. I was absorbed right away when you started the Mangala Churan. So
Okay.
from that point on, I did vacillate a little bit with the change of the breath and your guidance, but pretty absorbed through that from the Mangala Churan on.
Beautiful. That is the objective of the stage number one. Can I absorb? Can my mind be absorbed in the stage one? So then we know that we don't need any active steps. We can directly move to the third stage of meditation. So that period, that time, we can spend there. That is possible. Beautiful. That is another way to put it. How are you, Brandy?
Morning. Pretty good. The breathing today was helpful because there's some sinus congestion in my ear, and so it took I had to, like use the steps for the neighbor a little bit, right, of the body. But then I had a really nice deep meditation after that.
Deep meditation. Yes, that's really good. So I have one suggestion that I don't know if you can find sesame seed oil. In Ayurveda, we say that we lubricate our both the nostrils before doing these 2 sets of the breathing. It will help your sinuses very fast. In fact, in fact, I keep that sesame oil with myself. So I take it 3 and 4 times during the day. So it keeps the nostril clear. How are you, Christina?
Oh, well, thank you. My experience was very similar to what Dennis shared. When we moved into the breathing, I felt many tingles, and by the end, that indigo color really just filled my entire body, and I just had the sense of wanting to remain in that state.
Beautiful. Wanting to remain in that state is a beautiful state. And definitely all these colors and visions will happen in our following sessions, because we are now going into intensive practices on alternate sessions. So today we practiced almost for 40 minutes. So that's really good. So how are you, Terry?
The body was crazy, not cooperating. But when you were in the silence, I felt very comfortable there, and only as soon as a thought came to me, oh, it's been silent for quite a while.
Oh,
That's right when you ended it, so I don't know what to think about that.
just
But
try.
I wanted to stay in the silence.
Beautiful. Everyone wanted to stay into that. It means we are succeeding into it. It simply means the mind does not want to run after all these 6 neighbors. It wants to stay there. It wants to maintain that status quo. That is really good. You may try to practice this not only 3 rounds, maybe you can increase to 5 or 6 rounds, and then Terry, you see that can you stay into that state for a longer period. That is going to help you a great deal. And that is all for today. We will meet again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.